A high school girl running late for class. A luxury vehicle parked beneath the scorching sun. And inside, a baby unconscious, locked and alone. 16-year-old Emily Carter had no clue that missing just one school bell would draw her into the core of a deadly conspiracy. When she broke the car window to rescue the baby, she believed it would end with a hospital visit. Instead, she uncovered sinister secrets about a powerful medical corporation, a murdered nanny with a hidden past, and a doctor whose life was about to be shattered. What started as a frantic rescue escalated into a nationwide scandal, with only Emily holding the key to the truth. But here's the twist. Someone wanted that truth buried forever. Would you have done what she did? Watch until the very end. This isn't merely a story of bravery. It's about how a single small act can shake the entire system. A high school girl running late to class. A luxury car parked under the blazing sun. And inside, a baby unconscious, locked and alone. 16-year-old Emily Carter had no idea that one missed school bell would lead her into the heart of a deadly conspiracy. When she shattered the car window to save the baby, she thought it would result in a hospital trip. Instead, she uncovered dark secrets about a powerful medical corporation, a murdered nanny with a hidden past, and a doctor whose life was about to be torn apart. What began as a desperate rescue turned into a national scandal, and only Emily held the key to the truth. But here's the twist. Someone wanted that truth buried forever. Would you have done what she did? Watch until the end. This isn't just a story about bravery. It's about how one small act can shake the entire system. The sun blazed mercilessly over downtown Chicago as 16-year-old Emily Carter sprinted down West Bellman Avenue, her thin second-hand backpack bouncing against her back. Her breath came in quick. Panic burst. Her scholarship depended on punctuality, and this was already her third time being late. Her scuffed shoes barely held together, and the hem of her hand-me-down skirt flapped wildly in the wind. Dodging pedestrians clutching her worn textbooks against her chest, she muttered through clenched teeth, "One more tardy and they'll pull my scholarship." Emily couldn't let that happen. Her mom worked 2 jobs, and her little brother was too young to understand why dinner was sometimes just rice. School was her escape, and she knew it. But fate had other plans that day. As she turned the corner by a parking lot near Sheridan Plaza, a strange muffled sound caught her attention. At first, she thought it was her imagination, but then it replayed, barely audible, like a whimper. Her eyes swept a nearly empty sidewalk. Then she saw it, a black Mercedes-Benz with dark-tinted windows baking in the sun. She froze. Inside, barely visible through the glass, was a silhouette of a small child, motionless, strapped into a car seat. Emily's heart pounded fiercely. She darted closer and pressed her face against the window. What she saw made her blood run cold. A baby, 6 or 7 months old, drenched in sweat. His face flushed a deep red. His tiny hands twitched weakly, then stilled. His mouth opened for a cry that never came. "No, no, no, no," Emily gasped, pounding on the window. "Can anyone hear me? There's a baby locked inside." But the street was eerily quiet. No passing cars, no pedestrians, just her in this horrific moment. She pulled out her phone, but it was dead. Of course it was. She'd forgotten to charge it again. The car door wouldn't open. It was locked. The baby's head slumped to the side. Without thinking, Emily scanned the sidewalk and spotted a chunk of broken concrete near a construction site. She grabbed it, aimed for the rear window, closed her eyes, and smashed it with every ounce of strength she had. The glass shattered. The car alarm shrieked as she climbed halfway inside, ignoring the sharp shards that cut her hands. With trembling fingers, she unclipped the baby from the seat, pulled him out, and wrapped him in her school blazer. "Stay with me, baby," she whispered, cradling him. "Just hold on." She ran, not towards school, but towards St. Luke's Medical Center, 5 blocks away, 5 long blocks. Each step felt heavier than the last. Her lungs burned. Blood dripped from her palms. People turned to stare. One woman shouted after her, but she kept going. Inside the ER, the door swung open violently as Emily stumbled in, gasping. "Help, please!" "He's not breathing right." Nurses hurried forward. A doctor in his mid-40s, dressed sharply beneath his lab coat, took one look at the baby, and his knees buckled. "Benji!" he gasped, collapsing against the nearest stretcher. "Oh my God, that's my son!" Emily's jaw dropped. The child she had just rescued was the doctor's own baby. Before she could process what that meant, 2 police officers rushed into the ER. Emily Carter, one officer said firmly, hand on his, "Belt, you need to come with us. There's been a report of vandalism and possible abduction." "What? I was just trying to save him," she cried, holding up her bandaged hands. The doctor stood upright, eyes flashing. "She didn't hurt him. She saved his life. Let her speak." As the officers hesitated, tension filled the room, and at that moment Emily realized something chilling. She had stepped into something far bigger than she'd ever imagined. How would you have responded if you saw a baby locked in a hot car with no one around? Do you believe Emily should face charges for breaking the window, or was she a hero? And most importantly, do you think this was simply a tragic accident or something darker at play? Drop your thoughts in the comments, especially if you've witnessed a similar situation before. If this story made your heart race, comment "I would have done the same" below. And tell us, what country are you watching from today? Emily sat motionless in a stiff hospital chair, her hands freshly bandaged from breaking the car window. Her chest still heaved with adrenaline. She had just saved the baby's life and uncovered a mystery she never asked to be part of. Across the room, Dr. Jonathan Blake paced like a man whose entire world had just shattered. His white coat now looked more like armor, hiding the turmoil beneath. Just hours earlier, he had been performing routine checkups. Now he was barely standing after realizing that the unconscious baby girl brought in, Hope, was his own daughter. How did you find her?" he finally asked, voice raw. Emily recounted the moment again, how she heard faint cries from the back seat of a luxury SUV baking under the brutal midday sun in the school parking lot, how no one stopped, how she shattered the window and ran for her life, forgetting her school books, even time itself. Dr. Blake listened closely, but it wasn't just concern for his daughter that darkened his eyes. It was something deeper: fear, confusion, rage. That's when the police entered. "Miss Emily Carter," Officer Rivera said, stepping forward, firm but not unkind. "You need to come with us. We have reports of vandalism and a possible kidnapping." Emily blinked in disbelief. Before she could react, Dr. Blake stepped between her and the officers. "She saved my daughter's life. You're not taking her anywhere until I get some answers." Officer Rivera hesitated, then slowly nodded. "Then we start here." Over the next hour, they pieced together a chilling timeline. According to Dr. Blake, his daughter was supposed to be at home with her nanny, Grace Taylor, a woman with a clean record, glowing references, and 3 months of trustworthy service. But something had gone terribly wrong. The car was reported stolen that morning. Rivera explained, "Your wife arrived home and found the back door broken. The nanny was gone. Jewelry, important documents, all missing." "And yet," whispered Dr. Blake, "the baby was left inside my car at a school I've never even visited. Why here?" Emily remembered something. The car, was it locked from the inside? All doors, no windows open? Whoever put her there wanted to make sure she wouldn't be found or saved. The room went dead silent. Officer Rivera exchanged a glance with his partner. "That's intentional. Someone wanted her to die. But make it look like you forgot her." Dr. Blake's face turned pale. "It would destroy me, my career, my reputation, my family." Then he turned to Emily. "You may have done more than save my daughter. You may have saved me. But something still doesn't add up." "Why would Grace do this?" Emily asked. "I don't know," Dr. Blake replied, eyes widening. "Unless I've been working on a malpractice suit against a powerful private medical group, a place that's buried its mistakes for years. I've been trying to expose them. Recently, I've received threats." Emily leaned forward. "You think they planted Grace in your home? That she was spying on you?" Before he could answer, a nurse burst into the room. "Dr. Blake, your wife is here, and she brought something you need to see." Moments later, Megan Blake entered, clutching a brown envelope in one hand, her arm trembling. "Grace, she's dead," she said. They found her body in the trunk of her own car, and this was in her coat pocket. Inside the envelope were photographs, legal documents, emails, and at the center of it all, a case Dr. Blake had been building for months. She was investigating them, he said breathlessly. She wasn't just a nanny, she was a journalist. They stared at each other, pieces falling into place like broken glass reassembling into a window. Grace had embedded herself to uncover the truth. When she got too close, they silenced her, yet not before hiding the very evidence now in their hands. Emily looked at the sleeping baby in the nearby hospital room. Then softly she whispered, "It wasn't just to ruin your name. It was to kill the story and everyone connected to it." Megan nodded. "We were never supposed to find that envelope or her." The room fell into stunned silence as the weight of it all sank in. Outside, the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the hospital floor. Emily slowly stood. "What do we do now?" Dr. Blake looked at her, eyes steady, voice resolute. "Now we expose them. What would you have done if you were Emily? Risk your future to save a stranger? Do you think Grace was a hero, a victim, or perhaps both? If you believe people like Dr. Blake and Emily should keep fighting corruption like this, drop a like in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let us know your country. We love seeing how far these stories travel. The morning fog hung low over the city, but for Emily Carter, the air felt strangely clear. Just days ago, she was a struggling teenager racing to keep her scholarship. Now, she found herself at the center of a high-stakes conspiracy, holding the fate of an entire corrupt system in her hands. After uncovering the evidence that Grace, the murdered nanny, had hidden, Emily, Dr. Blake, and his wife Megan teamed up with Officer Rivera and a trusted federal agent. Together, they pieced together the truth. Grace was a whistleblower. The medical corporation she infiltrated was conducting illegal human trials on low-income patients. Dr. Blake had unknowingly gotten too close, and they retaliated by targeting his family. But the story wasn't over. The final piece was hidden plainly on a USB drive disguised as a baby mobile, recovered from Dr. Blake's own home. The drive contained proof of experiments, falsified records, and a list of patients who had died as a result. What they did wasn't just unethical, Dr. Blake told Emily one evening in the hospital cafeteria. It was murder, and it nearly cost you your future. Emily looked at baby Hope, now safe and recovering. It was never just about my future. It's about hers and every other child out there who deserves a chance. That's when they decided. Dr. Blake would testify, Emily would give her statement, and with Officer Rivera's help, they would go public with everything. The courtroom was tense. News outlets buzzed outside as the defendant, William Quingade, CEO of the elite Hartwell Medical Group, who had used wealth and influence to suppress malpractice scandals for over a decade, sat in the defendant's box. As Dr. Blake testified, displaying the evidence Grace had collected, the room held its breath. Then Emily took the stand. Only 16, she stood poised, recounting the moment she heard a faint cry from a locked car window. I just knew I had to do something. I didn't care about breaking rules. I cared about saving a life. The judge nodded solemnly. The jury leaned in. By the trial's end, the verdict was clear. Guilty on all counts: criminal negligence, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and multiple charges of involuntary manslaughter. William Quingade was sentenced to life in prison. The courtroom erupted. Some wept, others clapped. Emily simply stared forward, relief washing over her, not just for herself, but for Grace, Hope, and every voiceless victim. Outside, as media swarmed, Dr. Blake pulled Emily aside, handing her a small envelope. "What's this?" she asked. "Grace believed in second chances," he said. "And so do I." Inside was a full scholarship to the University of Chicago's pre-med program. Along with it, a personal letter from the university dean welcoming her into a mentorship track with Dr. Blake himself. Emily gasped, tears filling her eyes. "But I'm just a kid." Dr. Blake smiled. "You're a hero, and someday you'll be a doctor who saves someone just like you saved my daughter." That night, back home in their modest apartment, Emily and her mother hugged tightly as they watched the news. "You didn't just break glass, sweetheart," her mother whispered. "You shattered the wall between justice and silence." Months later, hope continued to grow stronger. Dr. Blake and Megan started a foundation in Grace's name, dedicated to supporting whistleblowers and protecting patients' rights. Emily visited often, proudly wearing her university hoodie and working part-time at a local clinic. She never forgot Grace or the sound of babies cry in the heat. And though the scars on her hands had faded, the memory of that moment never would. What did you feel when Emily faced the court and spoke her truth? Do you think Grace should be remembered as a hero? If this story moved you, drop a comment right now. Let us know what country you're watching from. We'd love for you to share this video with someone who believes that one small act of courage can change the world. Because sometimes doing what's right doesn't just save a life, it inspires thousands. We want to hear from you below.